Hello everybody, and what is going on? So today I thought it would be a good idea to touch on the topic of how to thrift / my thrifting tips, because I get asked this question quite a lot. Where's the best place to thrift? Do you have any thrifting tips? How do I get those sick off vintage clothes? Plenty of thrifting related questions. Now I've been thrifting since 2015, so a few years now, and in that time I have compiled a bunch of tips that I personally use. So I thought it is only fair to teach you guys what I know about thrifting, because in those few years of thrifting I had no idea what I was doing. I literally just got up one day, went to a charity shop and just hoped for the best. I ended up making a lot of mistakes which cost me a lot of money and a lot of time. So hopefully these tips will guide you to not make the same mistakes that I did while thrifting, and hopefully this video will just put you on the fast track to becoming a human time machine and getting all of that vintage streetwear heat. Now I'm all about the freedom of information, so I will be leaving a couple of links to other people's videos in the description down below of their how to thrift videos and their tips, just to give you an overall picture of how to thrift. Now, a super quick disclaimer, this video is about UK thrifting, which is a little bit different to the rest of the world in their thrifting practices. For example, in the US, you've got places like Goodwill, which are giant superstores, 10-ton of vintage clothing in it, whereas in the UK, we mainly thrift in charity shops, which are about the size of a small house. So with that out of the way, let's jump into how to thrift like a boss, how to thrift like a Donny, how to thrift like a goat, how to thrift like the insert something cool here. So the first tip I would give to anyone is to inspire yourself, develop somewhat of a style with a mood board. Now, what I mean by this is just to collect some influencers like bloggers, YouTubers, models, celebrities, stylists, brand, anyone that you resonate with on a styling basis. Next thing I would do is to collect pictures that you like, collect themes that you like, outfits that you like, and just to create a little mood board of these things, just to have a place of reference. Which brings me into my next tip. Know roughly what you want to buy before you even go to the thrift store. Now, you can't do this tip without the other. This is why having a mood board and a place of reference is so important. This way, when you refer to your mood board, you're focused. You can go into the charity shops, into the thrift store with a set mind. I want this, this, and this. There have been plenty of times where I've gone to the thrift store and had no idea what I wanted to buy. I'm sitting there looking at items with clothing with no point of reference, no idea what kind of look I'm going for, buying clothes without really thinking about it. The next tip is to wear simple clothes. And by simple clothes, I mean neutral shades like white or black. I always like to wear a pair of black trousers and my old school Vans, because black goes with nearly anything and the old school Vans do the same thing. Top white, it doesn't really matter what you wear, just as long as you've got a plain white t-shirt under whatever you're wearing on top for when you're trying on jeans and trousers. There have been plenty of times where I've gone into the thrift store wearing a pair of camo cargos or something a little bit too loud. I've gone into the changing room with a jumper that I want to buy and I can't really get a read on the outfit because the bottoms just mismatch the tops. So just keep it as simple as possible. Now, my next tip is to map out your routes. Now, in the UK, a lot of our towns have more than one thrift store. My hometown has about 10 thrift stores on the high street, but they're all scattered around. So you don't want to be going from one side of town to the other side of town, back and forth, just wasting your time. So the best thing to do is to see what thrift stores are near each other and work out a time-effective route. And the next tip that I would suggest is to go to the thrift store frequently. Now, I get a lot of comments from people like, oh, my town is dead for clothes. Every time I go to the thrift store, all I'll come out with is disappointment. Thrifting is a game of being at the right place at the right time. And the more you go, the more chances you will have at getting some of that good. I would recommend hitting up a thrift store once or twice a week, preferably in the weekdays, as thrift stores are quieter during the weekdays. Also in the mornings, go early if you can. I would recommend going to the thrift store from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11, as in the afternoon, the thrift stores tend to get a little bit more busy. The next tip that I would give is to go alone. Now, this only really applies if you're thrifting to resell. Me, I've gotten to a point in thrifting where I'm sort of at ultra instinct. I can scan through a rail at superhuman speeds. It's literally like done, and I'm just in that constant rhythm. However, there have been times where I'm in this mode, but I can't go as fast as I want because the person that I'm with is still looking at clothes. However, this doesn't really apply if you're thrifting more casually or you like the company more than saving time. But a slight disclaimer, when you're thrifting with someone, there there is a chance that they might find something that you like and you just missed out on that item because they found it first. The next tip that I would give is to try different towns. You can look online to see what towns near you have what thrift stores and just see if it's worth going, because you never know. Again, thrifting is a numbers game. It's all about being at the right place at the right time, and the more shops you go to, the more chance you'll find some heat. The next little tip that I would say is to bring some cash and your own bag. Now, there have been times at the thrift store where I've picked up one item of clothing, go to the till, I'm like, is it okay if I pay by card? And they're like, sorry, it's a £5 minimum. First of all, it's 2017, that's a mad thing, why would you do this? But it's their shop, they can do what they want, and if it's £5 minimum and you've got a £3 shirt, it's a little bit awkward. So what I like to do is to bring out £10 just in case that ever happens, just saving me a little bit of time and effort. Also, bringing your own bag is handy as well, because I've been to a number of charity shops where they don't actually have bags or they cost 5p. I'm not a cheapskate, I swear, it's just handy to have. And the next tip is to check your items for flaws. Now this one I cannot stress enough. Normally when I go to the charity shop, I'm picking up anywhere between 5 to 10 items, and I want to move on to the next charity shop as soon as possible, so I don't really check my clothes until I go home and it's too late. So it is worth taking half a minute just to check over the item, make sure there's not any pit stains, any rips, any tears, because there is nothing worse than picking up something that you think is fire, coming home and it's totally unwearable. That has actually happened to me before, more than once. Which brings me to my next tip: always keep your receipts. There was one occasion where I bought a Harrington jacket, I thought it looked sick at the time, got home and found out that half the zip was missing. Firstly, how did that make it onto the shop floor? But never mind that, don't watch that. As long as you have your receipt, you can get a full refund. Plus, keeping your receipts is also a good way to track how much money you actually spend on thrifting. The next tip that I would give is to keep an open mind. For example, if you're a guy, you typically only really look at the men's section, but it is always worth looking at the women's section as well, because there are some hidden gems in that section. For example, the women's section has better scarves, better hats, sometimes better winter coats, really good jeans and trousers, and sometimes accessories. Vice versa, if you're a girl thrifting, it is always worth looking in the men's section, just the entire section really. For some reason, menswear is very interchangeable. The next tip that I would give to casual thrifters is to try on your clothing. Now, most charity shops will have a changing room where you can try on your clothes in the mirror. I highly recommend trying on your clothes before you walk out the store with them, because vintage size labels are liars. I remember I had a Donate International t-shirt, says it was a size small, put it on, fits like an extra large. I had a Ralph Lauren polo, size extra large, fits like a small due to shrinkage. So never ever trust the size labels at a thrift store. If it's for yourself, definitely try it on first. And the last thrifting tip of the day is get to know your brands. Now, when I first started thrifting, there was plenty of times where I would look at a certain brand and I would just leave it because I had no idea what it was. Looking back at one of my first ever thrifts, I left a V Saint Laurent jumper because I had no idea what it was. By the time I found out what it was too late. It was gone. That thing was probably worth like £90. So it's always good just to clue yourself up on vintage brands. But this is more of a tip that comes with time. And I'll tell you what, just to help you out a little bit, I will leave all of the brand names that I'm familiar with in the description down below, just to give you a good starting point of what to look out for. And those were my how to thrift tips. So let me know in the comment section down below if you learned something new today, if this video has helped you in your thrifting ventures, your own personal thrifting tips, and for anything else thrifting related, style related, fashion related, leave them all in the comment section down below. And that is actually where I'm going to end today's video. So if you like this video, then you can give it a nice little like. If you want to subscribe and see more of what I do, because I do a lot of fashion based stuff, lifestyle based stuff, and style based stuff, then you can by using a subscribe button that can be located anywhere on this web page here. Share this video with your friends, and now that is everything. Bye.